Have you ever witnessed wild boars destroying crops firsthand? They don't just eat the corn, they trample, uproot, and destroy entire fields. This time, my close friend called me in a trembling voice. "Come back quickly, the wild boars are here, wrecking everything." When I arrived, I was speechless. His whole field was in ruins. We couldn't just sit there and watch this devastation unfold. We made up our minds. We would go into the forest and hunt down these destructive creatures. Stay with us to see if we can pull it off. The strategy meeting was quick. Each of us had a task, a position to take. Guns, binoculars, GPS, and of course, the hunting dogs were all ready. With everything set, we moved toward the enemy's turf, determined to show no mercy. It wasn't even fully daylight yet, but we had already taken our positions in the marked areas. I was stationed on the middle of the hill, where I could easily keep an eye on the surrounding land and break the wild boar's formation. Then, it appeared. A dark shape slowly walked out from the bushes. I held my breath, locking onto the target. 1, 2, and 3. The bullet sped off, making the boar pause for a moment. It tried to scurry away to find shelter. I stayed calm, watching the target quietly. A few minutes later, the boar collapsed in the bushes just ahead. I let out a quiet sigh. The journey ahead would be tough, but stay with us to see what happens next. While I was locked in combat with my target, a shadow suddenly rushed forward. The previous shot had alerted the other boars, and chaos ensued. Fast as lightning, one of the boars came into Jack's line of sight. The distance was perfect. Boom! A shot that echoed through the hills, quieting the madness around us. We exchanged glances. That was a perfect, timely shot to stop the oncoming danger. We moved toward the next hill. This area had thick patches of grass, not too dense, making it an ideal hiding spot for the wild boars, but also a perfect place for us to take them down. There it was, the wild boar, startled, charging out from the thicket. I held my breath, watching carefully, waiting for the perfect moment. It paused, and that was when I squeezed the trigger. The boar dropped instantly. At this point, chaos unfolded before our eyes. A barrage of shots rang out. Sensing the danger, the remaining boars panicked and scattered, fleeing deeper into the forest. Plan B was quickly set in motion. We pushed into the woods, determined to track down the wild boars. We weren't gonna let them escape. The terrain presented significant challenges for us, making it hard to spot the wild boars. Suddenly, the familiar sound of footsteps caught my attention. My senses were instantly on high alert. My heart raced. I took a deep breath, aiming my rifle in the direction of the noise. At that moment, a shadow shot out like an arrow. Headshot! The boar dropped instantly, before it could even make a move toward me. Radio crackled with a report from my team. An enemy was closing in on my position at lightning speed. I could hear it, footsteps approaching. I raised my rifle and waited. Then, as expected, a shadow emerged from the trees. I pulled the trigger. The shot rang true, taking the boar down. We weren't about to let anything threaten the peace of this village. If it came anywhere near us, there would be no mercy. As the sun began to set, we moved toward the edge of the forest, but we stayed alert. The boars were still nearby, and they could attack at any moment. Sure enough, the sound of rustling leaves caught our attention once more. There it was! A familiar silhouette appeared, and with a swift shot, we brought it down. The boar staggered before falling to the ground. It was the perfect ending to our hunt. Could a single wild boar cause tens of millions of euros in damage? It sounds unbelievable, but this is the reality unfolding every year in Germany. Cornfields are being torn apart, pastures devastated, and even residential areas no longer feel safe. These animals aren't just wild, they're getting smarter with every escape from a hunter's bullet. That's why today, John's hunting team has no choice but to take action. An ambush is underway, and every move must be flawless. Who will come out on top this time? Don't take your eyes off the action. The hunt starts right now. At first light, deep in the forests of southern Germany, hurried footsteps press into the dense woods. Without a word, the team quickly fans out, each member fully aware of their position and role. Every tense second passes with razor-sharp focus. John remains alert, holding his assigned spot. Suddenly, a faint sound breaks the silence. The wild boar has appeared. A crisp shot rings out. One shot, one kill. A cold and precise opening move that pushes back the destructive wild boar menace. Silently pushing deeper into the forest, John carefully weaves through the branches, every step measured and deliberate. It doesn't take long. A shadow flickers briefly among the thick foliage. The hunter's lightning-fast reflexes, honed through discipline, kick in. I hold my breath, finger tight on the trigger. The shot cracks like thunder through the woods. The beast falls silently. No cry escapes. It lies there on the cold, damp earth, ending any further threat to this place. As dusk falls and the fading light fades into darkness, John remains undeterred. His eyes stay sharp, scanning relentlessly in every direction. Then, the prey can no longer escape his keen scope. Boom! The crisp shot breaks the silence, ending yet another threat deep in the forest, and restoring the natural peace of this wild place. John's team returned to rest, preparing for a new battle on the vast fields the next day. At 6 a.m., they arrived promptly and quickly set up their positions. A completely new hunting strategy was put into action. John's small group moved toward the edge of the field, where wild boar activity was expected. As soon as they arrived, the scene before John ignited his fury to its peak. He poured every ounce of strength into each shot. With every pull of the trigger, a large wild boar dropped instantly. His years of hard-earned hunting skills were on full display, fulfilling his responsibility to protect the crops and ensure the peaceful life of the local community. In another corner, Leon's team witnessed a striking scene. A lone wild boar broke away from the herd, charging across the field still marked by the destruction caused by its own kind. One wrong step, and it paid a heavy price. The gunshot echoed across the open land. A decisive strike, no second chances given. What do you think of that move? Drop your comments below. The evening sun fades, and a chill begins to creep through the air. Each member silently retreats to the rendezvous point after a long, tense day. But John remains alert, his guard never dropping. Then, a wild boar appears, quietly grazing right within sight. The final prize of the day. A sharp, clean shot rings out, decisive and precise, officially closing today's hunt. Our mission is complete. I breathe a sigh of relief as my teammates and I gather the fruits of a hard day's work. This hunting trip has come to an end. The crop-devouring pests have finally been stopped. The victory belongs not only to the brave shooters, but also to the close cooperation between the farmers, local authorities, and the team's strong spirit of camaraderie. Once again, the hunters spoke at the right moment, and this time, they are the winners. We would be remiss not to thank the local community and authorities for their unwavering support and assistance. What did you think of this journey? Don't forget to leave your comments, share your thoughts, and hit subscribe so you won't miss the next heart-pounding ambush. See you on the next hunt! Hunting wild boar in the freezing depths of Michigan's wilderness is no easy feat. Bitter winds cut through the skin, snow blankets the ground, and obscures every track. And each step forward could lead straight into lurking danger. Only those with unshakable willpower and true grit can endure to the very end. And today, I'm taking you deep into that journey from tense, silent stalking to the heart-pounding moments face to face with fierce beasts, all the way to the final twist that you won't see coming. Let's dive into this one hunt you won't want to miss. At first light, our team was already in position. Not long after, the first target emerged, roaming as if it owned the forest. But in the wild, overconfidence is a deadly weakness, and I had been waiting for that very moment. Take note, everyone, never pull the trigger too early, just because the prey is in your sights. Wait until its guard is down. That's the golden moment for any hunter. The first shot was enough to weaken the boar, but not to finish it. Wounded, it spun around and veered off in a desperate attempt to escape.
cacerías que organicen.
The frantic speed of a wounded wild boar is enough to throw any rookie into a panic, but not me. A wounded animal will always head uphill. It's instinct. And just as it charged toward the slope, trying to make its escape, the second shot dropped it cold, ending the chase and restoring the forest's peace once more. After taking down the first one, we continued sweeping the area and soon came face to face with another group. The tension was razor sharp, demanding quick reflexes and split-second decisions. A single bullet hit its mark, dropping the wild boar just before it could vanish into the dry woods. A calm, calculated shot under pressure. Its companions managed to slip away, but don't worry, we're not stopping until we track them all down. The chase led us into terrain with limited visibility, but that was no problem for David. With over 20 years of hard-earned experience, he knew exactly where those wild boars would circle back. The ones that escaped earlier were bound to pass through this area. And sure enough, when one of them appeared, there was no chance David would let the opportunity slip. The gunshot rang out before the smoke had even cleared. The boar was already down, clean and precise. In any hunt, experience and composure are the keys to victory. With the target secured, we finally took a moment to catch our breath and gather our strength for what's next. Back in the snow-covered woods, the cold couldn't slow our steps. In fact, it made the prey even more frantic. It weaved through the trees like a ghost, but Kevin had already mapped out its path. The moment it broke into a rare clearing was the moment his bullet found its mark. In every hunt, the ability to anticipate the target's movement is the key that allows us to take control. Clean, efficient, and decisive. As we pushed onward across the snowy hills, we came across a bold one. The white snow made the perfect backdrop, exposing every clumsy attempt at camouflage. The wild boar, thinking itself invisible behind a few spindly trees, had no idea its illusion was about to shatter. With just a gentle squeeze of the trigger, Thomas ended it right there. Overconfidence turned its hiding place into a grave. What do you think was that false sense of security its biggest mistake? By day's end, the cold had seeped through every layer of clothing, but it couldn't shake my focus. As the herd of wild boars charged through, I quickly locked onto a young one. one clean pull of the trigger, and it dropped against the snow-white background, while the rest vanished into the deep woods. Stay calm, stay focused, let experience guide you. That's the mark of a true hunter in those fleeting, decisive moments. Behind the beauty of a Texas dawn lies the silent plea of the farmers haunted by the wild boars. These beasts can turn fertile fields into battlegrounds within hours. That's why hunting them isn't just a leisure trip, it's a crucial mission to protect the hard work of an entire community. This morning, our team set out once again with one goal: to restore peace to the fields at the peak of harvest season. The Texas dawn paints the fields with a bittersweet beauty, but today, there's no time to enjoy it. After a quick strategy talk, we split up to stake out the hunting blinds scattered across the spots wild boars frequent. And the wait finally paid off. A wild boar burst from the edge of the forest, heading straight for the community's lush cornfield. Man, was it fast. I pulled the trigger, but the first shot only made it charge even harder. Luckily, I corrected my aim with the third shot. The marauder went down, giving the village back a peaceful harvest season. Looks like today's start is gonna be tough. Follow us to see what challenges lie ahead on this hunt. Over the other side of the field, David carefully set his rifle on a steady rest, choosing a perfect vantage point. From a distance, he locked onto his target. No room for error. A sharp shot rang out, sending the prey into eternal sleep without a warning. Thanks to the suppressor, the gunshot sounded like the whisper of death, quiet enough not to disturb the other wildlife. A clean, deadly shot. What do you think of his hunting skills, folks? Over on this side of the field, the action was just as intense. Suddenly, a massive herd of wild boars burst out like a raging flood. Holy smokes, where did they all come from? It's a swarm! Like a busted beehive, a stampede of wild boars tore across the field. I quickly opened fire. The gunshots roared, but only one went down while the rest vanished into the thick woods. One beast down, but the whole herd's still out there. Looks like this battle's far from over. As the sun climbed higher, the boars began retreating from the open fields into the thick brush and forest. Our hunt shifted into a new phase, tracking them down and facing them head-on. Following the scent of the hunting dog, John moved in on the enemy's hideout. Suddenly, the dog growled low, nose pointed straight at a thick brush. It's in there! The moment the boar stepped into view, John didn't hesitate. One clean shot sealed the deal. For all the sweat spilled in the fields, this bullet was far from wasted. When man and dog work as one, crops will flourish. What do you think of our teamwork? Over here, crouched behind an ancient tree, I almost blended into the stillness of the forest. Suddenly, a herd of wild boars casually trotted by, their calmness feeling like a challenge. Thinking of the sweet potato patch that they had ruined, a fire ignited inside me. I locked onto the lead boar and squeezed the trigger. It fell hard, and the whole herd scattered in panic back into the deep woods. Gunfire echoed through the air, protecting the livelihood of the people. Suddenly, Finn spotted a shadow trying to hide. Did it really think hiding in the tall grass would keep it safe? A sharp crack of the rifle echoed like an unexpected gift, bringing a perfect close to a day of hunting. In the heart of this unforgiving wilderness, even those who tried to vanish are found and taken down. Every wild boar taken down wasn't just a victory, it meant dozens of acres of crops saved and peace of mind for the hardworking farmers who call this land home. In northeastern Poland, every night turns into a fierce battle. Wild beasts have ravaged tens of hectares of crops, causing tens of millions of dollars in damage. Faced with this urgent situation, the government quickly deployed hunting teams to end the disaster. No stage, no script, only the sound of gunfire defending this land. The hunting begins right now. As the sun climbed higher, Nick's hunting team arrived on the scene. They quickly spread out, surrounding the entire field and tracking their target's trail. Before long, Nick and his team spotted a massive wild hog. They closed in swiftly, determined not to let the beast escape. The moment it appeared, gunfire erupted, just when it seemed the fight was over. Oh no! The giant beast charged straight at James. Decisive shots were fired in time to halt its attack. Their first hard-won trophy of the day was secured. No time to rest. The hound's barking quickly guided Nick's hurried footsteps forward. The wild hog came into clear view with every sprint. Without hesitation, a series of rapid shots blocked its escape route. Before he could even lower his gun, another figure appeared, and the gunfire continued. Now, only the fallen beasts remain on the lush green grass, testaments to the fierce battle just fought. One more part of the field is safely reclaimed. On the west side of the field, a wild hog was desperately trying to escape James' vehicle. These beasts are incredibly cunning, weaving and dodging to test James' driving skills. Without hesitation, he accelerated to keep close on its trail. Spotting the perfect choke point, a swift series of moves brought the beast down. Another hard-earned victory for the team. As the sun set, Nick's team decided to head back and gear up fully for the night hunt. By 6 p.m., they were already tracking fresh signs, spreading out to set ambushes across the field. "10 minutes later, a group of wild hogs gathered, unaware they had walked straight into the crosshairs. Nick locked onto the fattest one and squeezed the trigger. The sharp crack of gunfire echoed across the field. In moments, only scattered carcasses remained. Moving on to the neighboring field, the sight of wild hogs busy foraging came into clear view through Nick's latest binoculars. Without hesitation, Nick quickly picked the best position and angle to strike. Gunshots rang out, each hog dropping swiftly to the ground. Every shot was clean and decisive, just like Nick's determination, not giving a single beast any chance to cause more damage.
Hey, what you got there, bud?
Other ambush points were set up swiftly. Just minutes later, in the pitch-black night, sharp gunshots cracked one after another as wild hogs fell to the ground.
Hey, what's up, bud? Hey! What you got?
Every corner of the field was thoroughly swept, no threat left unchecked. This field is now temporarily secured, easing the worries of the local farmers. The number of wild hogs taken down today stands as clear proof of an intense battle fought.